Welcome back to the Voice of Metal, where we talk about all things, or should I say, the people of metal, the voices of metal, that is. Hello, how's it going, everybody? I just had a wonderful dinner tonight with my family and stuff, and some fellow metalheads. Um, my new brother, I guess you brother-in-law, um, and my son and his new girlfriend that he has now. She's really nice. She seems really sweet, and so is Jason too. Um, I just want to talk about something because this one is a definitely a personal. Well, I should say I wasn't into the band right away. Well, let me get before I get started. Let me hurry and do my intro kind of thing. Well, this right here. Don't forget the QR code. I moved it over here so it's a little bit more, off to the ones, both sides. But just if you can scan the QR code to help somebody out, that'd be great. She's got a lot of great art. Check out her stuff, because it's for a surgery and all this other stuff. But anyway, now that I've got that out of the way, it's a little fast. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, when I was having dinner tonight, I got thinking about some of the things I could be talking about, and Jason is somebody that I've admired when it comes to the way he likes the music that he listens to, and he's a great person all the way around. Um, and one of his favorite bands is Lamb of God, and I would definitely love more than anything to actually be able to talk to Randy and the guys of Lamb of God, just because Jason loves the band so much. And that would be an honor and a privilege to me to get to talk to him and about him and his music and about more about him personally, and even some of the guys in the band too. Maybe even some of the stage crew, the guys that help him with the sound, the lights, whatever they usually have on tours. Because I think that's really impressive, really cool. At first, it was rather interesting. My interest in them was not as well founded. I guess I didn't know that much about them at the time before that, but and I used to think they're a Christian metal band. I thought, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but because of Lamb of God. But then I found out later on it's not quite the case. But also, so you know, and this is one thing I have looked into and researched. I do know that their original name was Burn the Priest. That's what they started off with, and even he mentions that live in one of the live recordings that I've listened to, that this is an old school song from Lamb of God before it became Lamb of God, Burn the Priest. So you all know their original name. Now, I also heard that it was not their, it's a side project. I don't know. All I know is I don't know which ones, I just heard both. So I'm going to tell you both. So that way you know. So that way I'm not wrong or right. I'm just saying this is what I've heard. So you know, from both sides, from other people. I say other sources, I guess you could say websites, even from Randy himself. He said that himself on the one. So I just heard that and said, okay, this is probably not really a side project, but he started off with that. They just renamed the brand. So that way, I think it's one of those things that's kind of like, how will the band's name kind of, I say, bring over a more commercial aspect to bring the band up in its, how I say, viewership as far as the numbers go, which every band I'm sure out there, regardless of who they are trying to achieve that goal. So that way, the more ears listening, the more fans they have, the more money they can make. Of course, because it's a business, just like any other business. Regardless, it's about passion, about what they enjoy, what they listen to, who they are as people. But deep down, it's about making some money, of course, because we all have to make money. A lot of bands are out there, but they enjoy what they do, So it's a little more than just about money. It's about who they are as a person, an artist themselves, expressing themselves with the music that they play. And I'm sure Randy would probably say the same thing. Yeah, granted, the money's great, but when it comes down to the fans, the people who love them, um, the music and what the stories represent for them personally, as far as what goes behind in the background, or I should say, or what the story is about, is all what it's really about, more than anything else. But, got to pay the bills, right? You got to keep the guys going and keep them, make, doing what they do, because if not, you can't go on tours, you can't buy equipment, you can't do all the cool things that you do. And they also got to have something to live off of in order to do it, because it's a full-time job. And I have heard that personally from other people in bands, that it's not always the easiest experience, especially if you're a smaller band. So if you are a local small band, if you are just starting off and you want me to hear your music, hey, I'm here. If you are in a band and would like to try to talk to me, hey, I'm your man. Let me know. I want to hear it. I want to talk to you. It's all good. I don't mind, because that's what it's all about. Helping each other out, right? Um Now, without further ado, we are going to talk about some of the Lamb of God's best songs. Well, it's supposed to be the top 20, but there's a few bonus songs. But originally it gave me a list of 10, but it has some more on here, so I think that's another 5 or 10. I mean, sorry. So some of the songs, these aren't in any particular order, so it's just some of their songs that are really good. And I might have heard some of them, I might not have heard some of them yet, so So this is kind of interesting. I thought I put down, yeah, yeah, this is what it is. Awaken from Wrath in 2009. I believe that is I'm hoping that's the actual album. No, no, no. Yeah, it is. I think it is. Anyway, I'll have to look that up because I'm not certain on that. I'm not even sure. I don't know their songs as well as I'd like to. Trying to think here. Yeah, this might be it. Wrath. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, Awaken is Wrath from 2009. This is the bonus ones. Confession as a Palace. Palace is burned in 2003. In Defense of Our Home, Ashes of the Wake, it's 2004. And these are some noteworthy songs. They're like more, what's other songs that the Lamb of God has done that are really, really good songs. And these are from fans and people that are out there, probably different lists and stuff like that are kind of compiled together. Um, which you might agree with me on that. I don't know. I They might be better. They might be worse. It's hard saying. Some might say no, that's not that great of a song, but you never know that they've done. Anyway, Black Label is a New American Gospel is in from 2000. There's one called Redneck. That's interesting. Kind of reminds me of Obituary Redneck Stomp, which is really good. And I forgot what album that was on or what year it was out, but it's really good. It's all instrumental, but that's what kind of reminds me of. But anyway, Sacrament is the album, I believe. It's 2008. 2006 is when it was released. Lay to Rest, Ashes of the Wake in 2004. Now You've Got Something to Die For. Oh, yeah, that is definitely a song, of course. Ashes of the Wake is in 2004. Um, Blackened, The Cursed Sun, Sacrament in 2006. Interesting. I didn't know they had quite a few albums come out all at once there. Um, 512, which I definitely know I've heard. Um, Now this one I'm not sure how to pronounce. Sturm the Drang. I hope I said that right. I probably said it totally wrong. I probably butchered it.
Sternum Drang.
Sternum Drain. Anyway, interesting name. It's kind of a hard one to figure out. But anyway, Walk With Me in Hell, which I definitely know, and I know that a lot of people that love listening to Lamb of God definitely loves this song, and so do I, because I have personally enjoyed this very much, and so have I've listened to The Black and the Cursed Sun and 512 for sure. Sacrament. Oh, that's the name of the album, 2006. Uh, this one I really like a lot, but I'm not sure how to pronounce the actual name of that song.
Omerta.
Or Merida. That's why I want to make sure I said it right. I thought that's how you pronounce it, but I want to make sure. Ashes of the Wake in 2004. A brutal and punishing song with a memorable voice hook. It definitely is. And I love the intro to that one because I think that's the one I'm thinking of where they talk about the law. You know what I mean? I'm sure you all know that. What's the law, basically. Anyway, I don't know exactly how it goes, but I do kind of say it as the song comes up, but I kind of screw it up sometimes. So I'm not going to do that here. So, Anyway, Resurrection Man, Lamb of God, a newer track with that, what is it? Oh, a newer track that retains the band's signature sound while exploring new sonic territory. I think, and that was in 2020, and that is the Lamb of God album. I believe that might be the one song that some individual think that might be a little bit softer and doesn't like it as much, but I'm not certain if that's the one that I kind of, how do you say, told somebody about, and they said, "Yeah, it's a little softer song," because I think that was during the pandemic and they were trying to explore some new sounds. It was close. I think it was right around. I think from what I remember, sometime after the pandemic, maybe March, April, probably May, April, because you could tell because the way the video is done, you could tell that they did it separately, and they also had some cut scenes in there with different graphics and things like that are part of the actual music video. Um, that's probably the reason why I remember it's 2020. Was it 2022? I don't know. 2020, I think is what it was. Well, this says 2020. Anyway, Descending Sacrament is 2006, a heavy and groove laden song with strong anti-war message, which is cool. I definitely like that. Vigil, sorry. As the palace, places burnt. What is it? Places burnt. Golly. Let me see.
The Palace.
Palace. Okay, I did say it right. I don't know why I'm missing the C. It's a little too far away. A fast-paced and thrashy song with a crushing breakdown in 2003. Grace is number 5. Wrath from 2000. A more, you know what I'm talking about. God, I hate that. It's a metalolic track that showcases Randy's vocal range, which I think I have heard this one, and I definitely like it a lot. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I don't know. Unfortunately, I know the songs that they play, but I don't know every single title of the songs yet. But I'm gonna get there. Don't worry, because I'm very good at that. I usually try to listen, but usually if I'm listening to it, I don't always have a chance to look at the name of the song when it's playing. So I apologize because I'm listening to it. I'm not paying attention to the actual. Well, I do once in a while if I go, oh, this is a Lamb of God song. I can pick it up really quick. It's not hard to figure out on some of it because you can tell Lamb of God is pretty unique when it comes to their sound. Um, Number 4 is Ruin as the palaces burn. 2003, a dark and atmospheric song that builds on a powerful climax, which is really cool. Um. Anyway, number 3 is Ghost Walking Resolution 2012, a catchy and groove oriented song with a memorable chorus. Now, this one I think I've heard, but I'm not 100% certain, so I definitely got to get that one. and listen to that and find out if I have or not. Another one is number two, Hourglass as the Palace Burns, 2003, showcases the band's technical proficiency and features impressive guitar work. This is the one I think actually I have got a shirt of, and I actually bought one for Jason and one for my son that has the hourglass type. It's a with a clock on it. I think that's about that song. The actual shirt is, but I'm not 100% certain. And let's see. And number one is Set to Fail. Wrath is the album. 2009 is a blistering and aggressive track that through thought-provoking lyrics about societal pressures, which it's rather interesting. Um, the first 10 kind of give you an idea. I kind of have an idea of what they're about a little bit because it kind of gives you an idea. Some of them may or may not resonate that way. It's hard saying, I mean, certain way, the way it sounds, the lyrics, the words, you might put your own spin on what it may be like, what the song's really about or what you feel that it's about. Well, it's kind of like art. It's up to interpretation sometimes. But if you listen to the words, you gotta get the idea. Um, what's really surprising with the name of the band called Burn the Priest originally, and it's now Lamb of God. It it's it makes me feel like there's certain things at play here, like the way the band, you know, the lyrics and what it's about is a little more like some of the other bands out there because like death metal is about death usually. Um, this one has a lot. I think he talks. Seems like some of the songs are about like anti-war. Well, not so much anti-war, but this um, societal pressures, and the other one's about. I thought it was about war. Didn't it say war? I don't know. Anyway, societal pressures. So it's kind of interesting. Some of the actual descriptions about the songs or the synopsis of what it's all about. So it's one of those things. I guess it depends on how you interpret the song and stuff like that. As far as the vocals, guitar, and everything else, they are one of the bands, just kind of like Obituary. Obituary is just, I think, a tad. Um, um, John John Tuttle, I think is his name, the lead singer for Obituary, has got a vocal range where it's a little bit on the just a tad bit heavier, a little more. It's more not so much, you know, heavier. It's more deeper. But Randy, though, he has got a very deep vocals on some of his songs, but he also does a very good job with a vocal range, like it said in there. As far as my impression of the band itself is, they've just got a just great overall sound, and it's some one of those ones is kind of like some of the bigger bands that have this iconic sound. Um, and it's one of those that, how do you put it? There are certain groups that I feel have good songs. Not saying that they don't, but there are some bands that seem to hit it a little bit. I mean, almost on every song they have. You hear it and you go, "Oh, that's a Lamb of God song," or "That's an Obituary song." And the way they do it, they make it sound different but still sound familiar. If that makes sense. Uh, for me personally, when I listen to an album for the very first time, or even a song, um, there are certain things that I listen for, and sometimes if it takes me in and blows my mind, that's what hits it for me. Um, there's a few songs from certain bands that I love, and other ones I don't love as much. But Lamb of God's one of those bands that just about every single thing, or pretty much everything I've heard so far, I really love. Same with Obituary. Same with King 810 is one of those ones that's it's not quite metal, but it's not quite rap. It's kind of somewhere in the mix, but they do a lot of different things. So it's never the same thing, which I love because I like variety in a band. So it's not stale, it's not old, it's not the same thing over and over again. But that's what they have over some other bands. And I think there are some bands that are out there like kind of not, Nine Ice Kill has some really good heavy vocals, but I think they rely too much on theatrics to push the boundaries of their music. I still think they got good sound. I think they got great, overall presence. They sound great live. They sound great on the thing. It's maybe just not my cup of tea. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Um, but not saying they're bad. It's not about dissing people. It's more like depends on what you like and what you listen to. Um, I think when people listen to certain types of music, they kind of have their bands that they kind of sprout off into like all these different routes of music. And even like Infectious Grooves is not really so called heavy. They're more kind of funk pop type metalish rock, I guess, sound punk. Not really punk. I don't know how to describe them. It's kind of like Infectious Grooves. They're like a funk, but they got a kind of a real heavy sound to it. So it depends. It really does. There's a lot of variety in some of those bands. I'm trying to think of something else that's way, way out there. There are some that are more gothic style and like Viking style type sound. I've even heard one that they talk about they have songs about McDonald's type stuff, but they're not McDonald's, but they dress like that. And there's a Hobgoblin one and a bunch of other ones out there. I forgot some of the actual band names because I've listened to so many different things that I can't keep it all straight. But yeah, some are rather weird and kind of interesting. I even heard from what was on a TikTok somebody for some reason I don't know who they were. I don't know if I followed them on there, but they had a song on there, and she's in the UK. She listens to metal, and I'm not sure how I got her page, but there's a guy that the band was really good sound, but they had this really he instead of singing like a song, he sounds like he's clicking. He's going like that. I go, okay, that makes no sense. It's something along those lines, but it sounds like he's saying something, but without make it really vocal. It's not really heavy. So it was really bizarre, and I don't even know what the band's name is. So I've got to find this out and figure it out. If I find out, I'll try to let you guys know if I don't forget to tell you. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like it was kind of quirky. It was kind of unusual for the sound. But I like the instrumental. It was really good. I just wish the singer was singing more like some other bands a little bit, but it might not sound the same. But when he wasn't singing per se or clicking, whatever you want to call it, he was actually talking. I thought, oh, okay, so there's nothing wrong with his vocals or voice, so he can talk. So it must be either that or may have something to do with that particular song that he was playing. I don't know. Maybe he's got this whole thing. It kind of reminds me of Skin. They do this whole thing with Columbine, where the lady that's a singer, she goes rata matata like thing with the vocals, but she has this high, like a certain vocal range that she hits with that to make it sound like a machine gun going off, and it freaks you out when you see the video because you see the video, you see her singing the songs, and there's just this really great. I don't know who did the film, the cinematography of it. It's like really telling the story about it, and they do a lot of stuff like that about different tragic events or different mass murderers and stuff like this, and other really weird, bizarre stories about different people that do some really crazy things, um, killing people and stuff and tragic events. So if you haven't tried it, check them out. Check Skinned. They're really cool. Yeah, but I want to go too much over my time. I'm trying to keep it at 15. I'm definitely over that. It's probably more like 20 now. So I will say farewell, good night. Don't forget to head bang the like and subscribe button for me. because you're part of my metal family, and I do appreciate each and every one of the people that have followed me and have watched videos, and I appreciate the feedback and the information, which I have not responded to certain people's messages, I know, or if I have, it's I just like them, so I'll have to check that out. Plus, I also got to get my thumbnails, and I know I've been kind of lacking on my playlist stuff that I usually do, so I apologize for that. I just been, get caught up in doing things in real life, but it's part of the whole thing. I'm trying to balance everything out. Hopefully later on down the road when it gets bigger, I could pay somebody else to kind of put that together for me and say, here's a side job. I'll pay you $10 to do it for me, or whatever. It probably only take a few minutes to do, whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and you have a good night. Take care.